The topic of evolution has been a widely discussed and controversial topic for hundreds of years. Scientists and philosophers have presented many explanations of how evolution takes place. Many misconceptions about the true theory of evolution have been spread throughout this time. Many popular movies incorporate evolution in their plots, and oftentimes scientific inaccuracies are presented to the general public, which further pushes the misconceptions about evolution that have been created. In 1968, director Stanley Kubrick released 2001: A Space Odyssey. This was an extremely popular film, which became the highest grossing movie of the year when it was released. The opening scenes of the movie depict an early hominid species who are still very primitive and live in a harsh environment. There are a few scenes in the first part of the movie which contain the evolutionary misconceptions I will be debunking in this video. We see a group of these hominids around a waterhole which they rely on for water. Another group of the same species stumbles across this waterhole, who also need access to it, and drive the original group away. They are outcompeted for these resources and forced to back down. In the following scene, the group finds a strange object known as the monolith, which appears in front of them and triggers a shift in evolution. In this film, it is assumed that the monolith was placed there by an extraterrestrial species and served as a catalyst that pushed these hominids to become modern humans. Shortly after this scene, we see a hominid inspecting the skeleton of a primitive herbivore. They pick up one of the larger bones and begin to smash the skeleton of this animal, showing that due to the influence of the monolith, they have now adapted to understand that violence can be used to increase their fitness when competing for resources. In the next scene, the group of hominids that pushed them away from the waterhole is confronted by the original group. However, this time they are all armed with bones, ready to use violence in order to outcompete the group that had pushed them out. According to the story, the monolith was responsible for the shift in behavior. However, this is a complete misconception of how behavioral adaptations work. There are multiple reasons why a behavioral adaptation, such as aggressive behavior, would occur within a species. The most common way for this to have happened in nature is through natural selection. In this scenario, the hominids who expressed aggressive behavior would be more fit due to their ability to outcompete individuals in the same species who show more docile traits. Another way that a behavioral adaptation may occur is ecological pressures, such as environmental changes like predators, changes in climate, or competition for resources, which could have led to this over time. One of the most famous scenes of this movie shows a hominid throwing a bone up into the air and it transitioning into a satellite made by humans in the space age. The film jumps to 2001, where mankind is very advanced as a result of the monolith instead of true evolutionary causes, such as common ancestry and divergence over time under the influence of speciation, selection, and environmental responses. Another example that presents evolutionary misconceptions to the general public is The Planet of the Apes. Released in 1968, it was also a very popular movie which explored the topics of space and evolution. In this film, a group of astronauts embark on a deep space mission where they crash land on a mysterious planet. Upon arrival, the crew realize that in this world, apes are the dominant species who have developed speech and technology, and humans were extremely primitive, mute, and were treated like animals. In one of the film's most famous scenes, we see Colonel Taylor riding a horse on the beach of this mysterious planet. He finds the Statue of Liberty destroyed and half buried in the sand. The major twist in this movie is that the crew had been on planet Earth the entire time. Due to time dilation, thousands of years had passed on Earth during the deep space endeavor. During that time, nuclear war had wiped out humanity and destroyed everything that was once known.
All the time. We finally really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up!
The major evolutionary misconception in this movie was that apes evolved from man and led to this world where apes are the dominant species. This is not scientifically possible because neither man or apes evolved from each other. In reality, they shared a common ancestor, which was a hominid species that thrived around 6 to 8 million years ago. Over time, the lineage which would eventually lead to modern humans and apes would diverge. This split occurred very gradually, and these changes were based on selective forces and environmental pressures. The Homo genus arose around 2 million years ago. In this genus, Homo erectus was a species that spread beyond Africa into Europe and Asia, and was the first associated with advanced tools and an increased brain size, ultimately leading to Homo sapiens. Ape lineages diverged into other species which did not have these traits, which is the reason why they did not evolve into intelligent beings. For this reason, it is impossible that apes descended directly from humans, and this is an evolutionary misconception in the film. The film also makes the assumption that apes become intelligent due to the fact that humanity fell into nuclear war and destroyed itself. This is also not scientifically accurate because evolution is driven by random mutations and environmental pressures to increase fitness. The fact that humanity no longer exists due to nuclear war would not be an environmental factor that would drive apes to become an intelligent species. Pressures such as an increase in predation, lack of resources, or climate change would be the scientific reasoning for this shift in evolution. 2001: A Space Odyssey and Planet of the Apes were two great movies. However, they pushed evolutionary misconceptions on the general public that needed to be debunked.
Life could be a dream, life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom.